they're certainly in a worse position now to have to replace him than they would have been if he had just retired at the end of the year.
I agree, but here's what I'm saying, Spike. Why is this coming out now?
Yes, why now? Why now?
Yeah,
right.
Like, why would this be a story now when it could have been something he was contemplating weeks ago, and then did he wait till Christian Parker left to actually decide? Like, this comes out now for a reason.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Right. So here are the things that here's like the entire landscape of it. The first thing I thought was when the rumors were bubbling under and Jimmy Kempski hadn't written about it, my intuition was he wants something. I don't know what it is, but they don't seem like worried or, because if I were them, not like I'd give him a deadline like Giglio did, but I'd say to myself, look, if we're losing Vic Fangio, we got to know if we're losing Vic Fangio. Yeah. So it seems like there's some conversation going on there. So could it be, here are the things we throw out there. Could it be a question over personnel? Like maybe, the thing that Howie said at the very end of the end of year press conference about that they could build for the future and play right now. Yeah. Maybe Fangio doesn't think he's going to have the same personnel on his defense than he would, and maybe he's using this as if you want to keep me, I'm not gonna. I've been the defensive coordinator for a rebuilding defense. I'm not interested in that. Yeah. There's that. There's the potential that I look at the Christian Parker thing. I wonder if they wanted to. He wanted Christian Parker, or there was some sort of lack of maybe he's the one who wants to replace Christian Parker. Maybe he's the one who wants to decide on that, and Howie said no. Right. Maybe Howie decides who the D-backs coach is going to be. Yeah. I think it's not that he can't. To Ken's point, it's not that somebody that age can't just retire.
Sure,
it's that. What is the conversation here?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
What is the conversation? You're not sure? So that's...
The only way to me that he's not sure about wanting to move forward is if something's not in place that he wants in place that makes his job enjoyable, comfortable, and everything else to come in and do at his age. Right? Like that's the only thing I can think of. And if I'm to take the money part out of it, I don't think, and I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, okay, I'll admit I'm wrong when it's proven that I'm wrong. But from a money aspect, how much more money could he be asking for that the Eagles wouldn't be willing to give him?
Yeah, you've talked me off the money thing.
Yeah.
Now every person uses what they have as like a bargaining point to get more money.
Yeah.
Retirement is something he could use.
Yeah.
But to your point, if
even
it was just about money,
$1 million more, like it's
Eagles,
not even worth the headache. Just write him $1 million check.
So I'm off of that.
Yeah.
I do wonder, though, he has been a guy who, how he likes to make the decisions on things.
Yeah.
And you're not going to tell me that Bryce Huff basically never taking the field for an entire year as a Fangio decision didn't bother Howie Roseman.
Right.
And then paying him to come beat us in the playoffs, we were paying him a lot of the money that Bryce Huff was earning this year.
Yeah.
You're not telling me that didn't bother Howie a little bit. You're not telling me that signing Devin White as one of your big free agent signings on defense, essentially never taking the field as well, you're not telling me that didn't bother Howie Roseman a little bit.
And Fangio letting everyone know that Howie signed Zach Bond for a different role than he envisioned.
Right. And then we get to next year, and you hear his comments about the cornerbacks. It's like, I never even watched that guy. So all those things, I'm sure, bother Howie Roseman, and I'm sure Vic is like, if I'm going to come to work, I'm going to make those decisions. And then I get to the Christian Parker thing. And I am sure that Vic Fangio, we heard one of the sticking points could have been Jeff Stoutland on offense with an offensive coordinator. I am almost certain that Howie Roseman, given the way that he likes to run the organization, just look at how he runs it with the head coach and the coordinators, would like to decide who is going to be his D-backs coach. Whereas if I'm Vic Fangio, I'm saying I've been in the league 25 years. I've just won you a Super Bowl and was the reason that we were even 11-6 this year. Yeah. I'm going to pick who my defensive backs coach is going to be. So I wonder if some of those things are, to your point, Vic wants it to be comfortable for him to come back here.
Yep.
And I wonder if they're just not making it quite as comfortable as he would like it to be.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
It really is.
Because otherwise you just make the decision.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, he's more or less, it feels, if he's going back and forth, it implies that, yeah, I would love to continue to coach, but I need things to be like this.
Yes.
For me to coach.
Yes.
And the back and forth is maybe him not getting it the way that he wants it.
Yes.
Now, from the Eagles' standpoint, I will say this. Them not knowing how much longer they're going to have Vic Fangio as their coach does affect what they need to do moving forward. Because I'm sure they don't want to have to always get an entire new staff.
Yes.
So they want to have certain
retired.
guys in position. Yeah, so they have to do what they need to do as an organization from that standpoint. And if Nick doesn't get that autonomy to do it that way, then how's Vic going to get it?
But I'll tell you, and here's how Vic gets it.
Yeah.
Because Nick ain't going to use retirement as a threat, but Vic would. And that is the thing.
Go.
That's the negotiation thing, is that Nick at this point doesn't have anything to negotiate on. He's got a contract. He could quit, but he can't go coach for anybody else. Yep. He wants to coach for the next 15, 20 years.
And he can't quit because he can't get paid.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, but whereas Vic does have that. So he can use that. So he can make it known through people so it gets to somebody else. And then when that person, Jimmy Kempski, and I haven't asked Jimmy about this for sure, but when Jimmy Kempski gets the information that, hey, Vic might retire, then the Eagles could, if they want to fight back, go, yeah, we could just go get Jim Schwartz. We've already made that phone call. You know, we could have gotten Jonathan Gannon. We already made that phone call.
Yeah, the fact that this is even still out here as a topic of discussion
is crazy.
Yeah, the reports are people call to ask the Eagles, was Vic Fangio going to be the defensive coordinator this year? And they got no confirmation or denial.
Right.
They could easily just been like, yeah, he's the coordinator.
Well, and that's why if I'm the Eagles and I see the Vic leak trying to pressure me, I would tell the person writing that story, we've already got a backup plan. So you can present that. We're not going to feel pressured into making any decision.
Jim Schwartz stuff that came
the Gannon
out.
stuff, yeah. So here's what Emmanuel Acho thought about the Eagles potentially losing Vic Fangio.
Vic Fangio was a secret weapon for the Philadelphia Eagles. If Vic Fangio is gone, the Eagles' postseason success is gone. In the midst of all of the chaos with the Philadelphia Eagles offense, whether it's Jalen Hurts underperforming, Saquon Barkley in the offensive line not getting going, A.J. Brown's turmoil and being disgruntled in the locker room, the defense has no egos, has no issues, has no flaws really as it pertains to like the entirety of a season. They just shut up, go out there and play football at an entirely extremely high level. Not to mention, Vic Fangio has gotten the best out of players we didn't know how great they were going to be. Quinyon Mitchell, Toledo, overlooked, turns into an All-Pro. Cooper DeJean, Iowa, white cornerback, turns into an All-Pro. Jalen Phillips, Vic Fangio said, let me go get him. Jordan Davis has turned it on under Vic Fangio these last 2 years. If the Eagles lose Vic Fangio, the Eagles lose their long-term success because we've had defensive coordinators prior, but there was not a Super Bowl that was won until Vic Fangio showed up.
Well, did he say we?
Yeah, and also
he's still an Eagle.
Did win a Super Bowl before Vic Fangio. So,
with Jim Schwartz.
With Jim Schwartz. Now, they got roasted in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but
for what it's worth.
They were great leading up to the Super Bowl.
They were.
Great.
Well, hold on.
They were good.
They allowed, 7 points in the Vikings game?
Yeah, they played Matt Ryan and Case Keenum.
Well, Matt Ryan was a year off an MVP.
Well, yeah, but he catches that pass in the end zone.
I know.
Yeah.
Listen, Schwartz was roasted here.
Yeah.
Schwartz and Gannon both got it.
Yeah, they did.
I don't know. I think do you think people didn't like Schwartz at the end?
Angelo was big on Schwartz as a fraud. Yeah. Yeah, I remember him, leading that brigade.
Yeah, I like Schwartz.
Well, he did try to overthrow Doug.
He did. I didn't like that part about Schwartz.
Power hungry.
I've gotten over that, though.
He really is pretty desperate looking to be a head coach.
Yes, he wants it bad.
Well, he's like these idiots they keep giving jobs to.
Well, the other thing is they hire Schwartz here. You don't think he's going to look at the head coach and be like, I can get that idiot out of here?
Real quick.
And then I get that idiot out of here, and then they can have the offense guy do whatever the hell he wants without me getting involved. I don't even care about the offense.
I'll just be the coach.
Yeah.
I will say this. I think Vic Fangio has been the most important acquisition this team has had in the last 2 years. More important than Saquon, more important than Zach Bond, Vic Fangio has. not only for what he's done from a schematic standpoint, but his impact on the culture in the building, the toughness, the practice habits, those things. I know Nick's the head coach, and I don't want to minimize Nick as the head coach, but it seems like these things changed when Vic came in 2 years ago as the defensive coordinator.
Well, I've told you a bunch of times, but Mailata kept saying that it was the defense and their togetherness that he always seemed jealous of to me that carried them, that prevented them from collapsing this year. The way that the 23 team did. That their energy, their togetherness, I think it almost embarrassed the offense into acting the right way.
Made them look in the mirror and see themselves.
And it's not like they have plenty of talent on defense, for sure. But let's not act like they were deficient at edge. They were deficient at cornerback too. They were deficient at safety. And they still performed. I would say that this year's defense outperformed their talent, actually.
I agree. They played above their heads. And a lot of it is because they trust in the scheme. They trust in their defensive coordinator, right? And it's the way that what he demands of them. It reminds me so much of playing for the late, great Jim Johnson. That was Andy's football team. But that personality of the team was through the defense. And that defense was through Jim Johnson. That's just the way it was. And that's how important I think Vic Fangio has been the last 2 years for the Eagles.